dermatologist Rodney Barnett and also one of his clients, June Eaton. Welcome to Insights, both of you.
Good morning.
Now, what is trichology exactly?
Trichology actually addresses persons who are suffering from hair and scalp disorders. Now, traditionally in the past, persons would have seek the advice of a dermatologist, but derma means skin in Greek and tri means hair in Greek. So if a person is suffering from hair or scalp disorders, then that's the disorders that a trichologist would address.
But one can lead to the other, am I correct
That's
sometimes?
exactly right.
Yeah. And June, tell us your story. You have an amazing story.
Yes, basically relating to Rodney's story. I was seeking Rodney in help because I was losing my hair. And in the same token, after losing my hair, I'm like, Rodney, please help me. I'm losing my hair. Why am I losing my hair? And at the same token, he looked at my skin and he says, you have acne? Yes, I've been going to the dermatologist for acne. He says, well, why don't we look at some things and look, try to get you in balance, and then once we reach the balance, you'll probably start looking at your hair regrowing.
And you said you were slightly overweight.
Overweight. When I walked into Rodney's office, I was 198 pounds, and today I'm down to 140
now,
pounds.
How does this differ from going to a doctor, though, or several doctors in that case to get all these problems straightened out?
I had been through the gamut. I had seen many dermatologists. I had been to many doctors, and to no avail. Everyone told me that I was a clean bill of health. They could not find anything wrong with me at all.
But you knew
but
inside
I knew
something
that
was wrong.
the scale was not balanced, and Rodney helped me to balance the scale.
I think a lot of women probably go through this, and we attribute it to a lot of things, but it could have been if you had a child. Maybe it was childbirth, or maybe it's getting older, or whatever. How do we know that we should come to you rather than to a doctor?
Well, normally doctors deal with diseases, so, if a person has a serious health disease, and that's primarily where a doctor comes into play. I want to state right off the bat, I don't address diseases. What I basically address is imbalances within the body, because a lot of times that's where the problem lies. The body is designed to be balanced, and we have different systems inside the body, and if all of those systems are balanced, then we should have healthy hair, we should have pretty skin, we should have a healthy scalp, we should even have nice-looking nails. If there is an imbalance, then it's going to affect the hair, it's going to affect the skin, it's going to affect the scalp, and it's going to affect our nails.
The body's a wonderful thing, isn't it? It always tells you when something's wrong.
Yeah. What's so amazing about that, Ms. Brown, is that every year we get a new body, and people don't really stop to think about that. The body can actually regenerate, but we have to be able to feed the body the type of materials that will help the hair and help the scalp and help the nails.
Okay, now you brought some photos with you of some of the more common disorders that you treat. Okay, tell us about this one.
This is probably the most common one. This is called androgenetic alopecia, or the most common name for it is called male pattern baldness. One of the characteristics of male pattern baldness is at the hairlines, at the temple, it will begin to start receding. In some cases, even in the parietal area, which is in the crown, a person will begin to start losing hair in that area. This was June's case. In her parietal and the crown area, she had actually
it just comes out and you don't know
losing.
why. Yeah. Okay, let's see the next one.
Okay, this is called diffuse alopecia. The word diffuse means that the thinning is happening all over. Now, there's a lot of things that could cause this type of alopecia. One of the most common ones is an imbalance within inside the body. So what we would do here is we would try to find out where that imbalance is within the systems, try to bring the body back to balance, and 9 out of 10 times the hair will begin to start coming back.
Okay, let's see the next one.
Now, these are scalp disorders now that we're going to look at. This is a very common one that people come in to see me for. This is called seborrheic dermatitis. Now, seborrheic dermatitis, another name that most persons are probably familiar with it is called cradle cap. Now, you can, in cradle cap, you'll see it a lot of times in young children. It'll be like a very yellowish band. It'll just only be right around the hairline. In adults, it'll actually be white. If you actually lift up the hairline, you'll actually see this red inflammation going right around, just around the hairline.
Oh, wow. Okay, the next one?
This is called psoriasis. You've heard of the old saying, the heartbreak of psoriasis. Yeah, the reason why they use that punchline is because this is a very painful scaly disorder. It's very painful. It itches a lot. It has a tendency to bleed, too. That's how we know the characteristics between this and dandruff. This looks so similar to dandruff. So many persons think that they have dandruff when actually it's psoriasis.
Wow. You keep mentioning the word balance. Okay, how do you bring the body back into balance? Do you do it with vitamins? Do you do it, how do you do that?
We do it with nutrition. There's a combination of eating whole foods. The body requires whole foods. Now, whole foods are proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, which are fats, vitamins, and minerals. And it's interesting about minerals because most women that come in to see me, they're familiar with taking a multivitamin, but they have no knowledge of what minerals do. And minerals are even more important than actually the vitamins. And then we have herbal supplements that persons can take in order to balance out the system also.
And especially with women, you treat any number of, I guess we could call them conditions like menopause or post-pregnancy things, or after or before, you said chemotherapy, things like that.
Exactly, exactly. Menopause is a hormonal imbalance within inside the body, and women will begin to start losing hair during that particular time period. So yeah, menopausal women that come in to see me is an area that we have to address in trichology.
Okay, June, what do you think would have happened had you not found Mr. Barnett?
I probably would have had a nervous breakdown, and they probably would say, put her in the corner and forget her. But needless to say, I worked with Rodney, and I did a lot of research. I started to see a herbalist and do some things with herbs as well. And as the end results with changing the diet, reducing the stress, and changing the quality of food, it's a better result as of today.
And you plan to continue this? Was this a lifestyle
definitely.
change?
To be honest with you, I'm trying to plan or establish a women's support group.
Oh, that's right. Tell us about that quickly.
Yes, sisterhood. And this is based on my experience with Rodney and the things that I've experienced, and to share with many women outside that are not aware that their hormones can be a contributing factor to losing their hair.
And we need to say you don't treat only women, you treat guys too, but guys, you have to go. You have to make the effort to go, right?
Problem with guys, they got to be willing to change the diet. That's the biggest problem with men. They have to be willing to change the diet.
Okay. Now, if you need more information or if you want to know how to get in touch with Mr. Barnett, your number is 214-904-0330. And you're located at Lovers Lane in Inwood.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us. Explain to you when you came in before.
Sharon Basham is a professional woman who's tried just about every trend in hair there is. Relaxers, braids, and weaves. As a result, her fine hair is now coming out around the edges. After reading an article in Essence magazine, she rushed to trichologist Rodney Barnett for help.
My clients, quote unquote, made me become interested in trichology. I began to start realizing that as I got older, my clients' needs changed. They were no longer as interested in a fashionable haircut, what type of style they were going to receive, a perm, a relaxer, a tint, or bleach. They were more concerned about how can I keep hair on their head.
Trichologists are licensed professionals who can help with a number of hair disorders.
The number one category would be what we call male and female pattern baldness, because more than 69% of most male and women's experience hair loss is because of genetic predispositions.
Mr. Barnett, I know a lot of people are coming out of braids now because that's been the latest thing. What are your recommendations for women who want to make the transition from braids to another hairstyle now?
If you have stayed in braids for a specific period of time, say for months, some women even go as long as years before they actually take the braids down, they actually will cause the hair fibers to lock up, thereby making it almost nearly impossible for it to be responsive to any type of salon services, such as relaxers, permanent waves, tints, and in some cases the hair is so dry and brittle, it's just like a rope that's been out in a hot sun for a period of months. It can actually almost crumble up in your hands. Thereby, it eliminates all of the aspect that the woman had in mind about why she went into braids and wind up cutting it all off.
Barnett says adding moisture to your hair is one of the best things you can do to keep it healthy. However, he does not recommend many over-the-counter products, but rather natural moisturizers and herbs found at health food stores. And ladies, believe it, unmanaged stress is a no-no.
Now, I have to ask you this because it's a topic of conversation sometimes. What role does emotional stress play in hair loss? Oftentimes in conversations, women talk about, I lost my man, I lost my hair, I lost my job, I lost my hair, the kids are driving me crazy, I'm losing my hair.
Now, we make women understand that a different type of stress. You know, you have women that come in that we all deal with the type of stress where we have to get a particular project out on time. We call that acute stress. But the type of stress that we find that actually causes hair loss is the type of stress that a person wakes up with in the morning, stays on their mind all day long. They go to bed with it, they get back up again with it and start dealing with the same problem all over again. We call it being in a situation where it doesn't seem like they can get out of. That's the type of stress. It's called chronic stress that we see that really creates the excessive amount of hair loss in both male and females.
A good trichologist considers the treatment education for the client.